Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of INCRadio Chatline. I'm your host for tonight. Elson Devil Cruz, and we're gonna be talking about appearances. Like, what does appearances mean? Like it's just like what you look like. And I'm joined by my friends here in the panel. When Kuya puts in his interview, you'll see them, but you'll see a couple of regular faces, and also maybe faces you haven't seen in a while. I'll go and add my friends here in the panel, like what they think, about appearances. So, like, for you guys, like, when I say appearances, what comes to mind? Is it just like the physical appearance, or is it like something deeper,
Every everything, everything. Not just what you're born with, but the whole package.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that.
I think what Tony is saying is that it's not just physical, but how you present yourself, like maybe how you dress, like how you talk, and maybe your demeanor. So mood
Okay.
lighting here.
Yeah, to Tracy with her candle.
Modifying her appearance this evening with her mood lighting.
Yes. Honestly, like like just able to adapt to like the situation. Power out candle. But go ahead, Arnie. I saw you on mute. Like, what was you gonna say?
Oh no, for me, when you say appearance, mine goes directly to the face. What they look like.
Okay, I don't know if you were like playing contrarian today. Okay, I'll see. I'll see later. So, I mean, I'm sort of like the same. Like, when I hear appearances, of course, like the first thing that comes to mind is like, I'm not even just like the face. And that's my face on that you can see right now. But like, not even just the face. But yeah, like, first off, like, what you kind of like look like what was it Tracy or Tanya said it, like how you present yourself. Like, that's sort of like what I'm thinking. But it's a bit more shallow because it's like how you present yourself in the way that you dress, basically. But I know, like, you guys said it goes deeper than that. So it made me think of like maybe like a princess in terms of like trying to fit in to like a friend group, or like an environment, like a workspace that you find yourself in. So, like, have you guys ever had to like change a little bit about yourself to fit in? They are thinking.
Of
Thinking,
course.
buffering.
I don't know.
Of course
It
you do.
depends on the change, I guess, that we're talking about.
Okay, speaking from my experience, I've definitely changed like I guess my fashion style to like, if like we're to the point where if I'm hanging with this friend group, then this is kind of like, this is the outfit I'm going with.
You have a uniform for your friend group.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm going with friend group A, then this is kind of like the outfits that I'll wear. If I'm going with like my older friends, then I can wear my flared jeans, like the really thick ones.
And
I
I think
don't
So you're
know. I
saying
don't
baggy
really.
jeans.
I think your environment really plays a big part, because for me, if I had a choice, I would just be in tank top and shorts and flip flops all day, every day, right? But then when I go to work, even though I would prefer sundresses and something that's very
Uh-huh.
casual, you have to kind of dress it up a little bit and be a little bit more professional. And
Mhm.
also for me, it depends on who I'm teaching. If I'm teaching like just the younger people, then I don't have to be so professional. But then as soon as I start teaching members of management, then I got to put the blazer on and make it look like I'm, at their level and not some little kid trying to wear a sundress to work, kind of a thing.
Mhm. I think that's like you adapting to like the norms of the situation that you find yourself in. So for me, I think I had a lot of practice with this because I moved around a lot as a kid. And so every new place that I go to, oh, there's like a different kind of thing that people do, or like a different way that people speak. So yeah, so for me, it's like moving around a lot as a kid and then moving here to California, then having to adapt to that. So there's some kind of change that has to happen because inherently, I think for people, we want to be accepted. So there's this need to belong. And one way to do that is to kind of reflect back, how do people present themselves, and reflect that back to them, so that there's this feeling of like, oh, like you're a familiar person. I feel like I can get to know you more. So there's like this kind of, in a sense, a bit of fitting in, modifying some parts of maybe your behavior, how you present yourself to people.
To go along with that, since you said you moved, I move a lot too. And so when I was living in Orange County, I had to be like really professional, because everybody there, they're very stylish and things like that, right? And then when I moved to Texas, where they really don't care what you look like or what you wear, you could just wear jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah, I'm not kidding. But like in Orange County, you have to be all done up, because, everybody there is all done up. And so, like you said, with the environment and everything, I think that plays a big role of how you appear to be.
For me, it's more about standards. I feel like in terms of situation, like if I lived in different places, would I be more conscious about I wear? Yeah, but it's more about weather-wise. like, for me, it's more it's like, am I comfortable? Like not in the sense of like I'm not the type to be in flip-flops and shorts all day, Arnie. Like I'm still going for comfort, but I will say that you do have to maintain a certain kind of standard depending on your audience. And it's not to say that you're trying to fit in, but like when it comes to standards, like what she mentioned for work, the way that I've learned, because I didn't used to care about my appearance before, to be honest. Like when I was younger, I would just wear whatever, whenever, wherever I would go. But the older that I got and the more that I started interacting with different people, you kind of learn that how you present yourself tells you a little bit about what you think of them in a way, like how much you respect other people. Like if I'm going to meet somebody who I think is respectable, I'm not going to show up in my in my sweats or in my like sweatshirt. I want them to feel like I took the time to prepare myself. If they're looking like that, so maybe that's where Arnie's coming from in terms of how she lived in Cali. I've never lived in Cali, so I've never experienced in the Valley what that's like. But I feel like it's more about respect rather as opposed to fitting in. Fitting in to me feels like you're forcing yourself because you feel like you have to, or you feel like if you don't do it, you're going to be rejected. But it could be more, the conversation could be more about, I'm showing that I respect you by making myself look presentable, when we meet up for whatever the reason may be. But for friends though, I feel like that's where I can dress like more casual. Like you can see my ugliest. Let's go. Like, you don't need to see me like all dolled up. You've seen the worst parts of me. That kind of thing.
That made me think of like this one time I missed the text about like the sort of like the theme that we were going with. And so I like I came to the hangout like way under sort of vacation. I wouldn't say that they were like formal, but they were like smart casual.
You missed the
smart
memo.
casual, and I'm just like casual.
Cha-cha.
I mean, it wasn't a tank top, but it's like basically a black t-shirt, jeans, sneakers. It was like, you guys are dressed up. Because they were like we were attending like a sort of like more formal event later on, and I missed the memo on that. I was like, so for later on, like when we had to attend, I kind of like slink to the back because I'm like, I think I'm a little underdressed for this event.
You're like, escape.
Yeah, like it does make me think of like when you're not able to kind of like maintain like that certain appearance. Like I notice it affects like my confidence. Like I mean, generally I'm introverted, but if I feel confident enough with like what I'm wearing, like how I think I'm presenting myself, like the confidence follows. But if I'm not, then like if I even look at the mirror and I see like just maybe my thighs like skewed a little bit, or I look at my shirt and it's like this shirt just doesn't fit right, like if I even notice a bit of that, I notice like it makes me feel like a little like less confident in myself because I'm not able to kind of like maintain like the the appearance that I'm trying to present, like what I'm trying to present myself as, and like I don't know who said it like earlier because it made me think of like this question in my mind, or like do you guys feel like that pressure to like appear like busy, successful, happy, like in front of others?
Yes and no. It depends. It depends on the audience, the room. Depends on the room.
If it's okay, let's say for example, it's like people you look up to.
Still depends. Are we close? Are these friends that I look up to that I'm
There's
close
too many
to?
qualifiers.
Okay, for you it's like
Sorry,
it's close.
that's just me. Sorry, that's just me. No, honestly, because if I'm in a room with, let's say, mentors, but these are mentors that I don't interact with on a personal basis. They're just people I work with professionally. I might feel intimidated sometimes because you feel the sense of kind of you want to feel worthy, or you want to feel like you have something under your belt, like you get kind of shy, like, oh, these are my experiences that I have compared to theirs, where it's just like much more massive. And you're like, well, but then I don't know. So is that what you're speaking to?
Get that. Yeah, I do kind of get that.
In terms of appearances that way.
I do kind of get, because like let's say, even if I'm with like my friends and we end up talking about like careers, like for me, I feel like I don't have like a lot to show for it there. So like careers, or like even like accomplishments in school, I was like straight B student. Like a straight B student the entire way. So like I didn't make it into,
you know
like,
what? B's get
or...
degrees, EJ. B's get
yeah, I know.
degrees.
It's
That's
like,
true.
yeah,
Accurate.
I was like basically an average student, like
people have graduated with less.
I know. Like I mean, there were, okay, this is like specifically math. There were
louder,
a
Tracy.
couple semesters where I did go into like a C, maybe even a D plus, but
I'm a math major and I had some C's in my transcript. How about that?
Yeah, like,
and I still
math's just not
graduated,
bad.
and I'm in a PhD program, so it's fine. I think, like, I was thinking about that whole thing about pressure. I suppose, like, to some extent, yes. And I know, like, I get where Tony's coming from with like the whole, like, it depends on who you're with and what the situation is. But like, there's this pressure to be on all the time, even when you don't feel great. So for example, like if you're in a professional function, like Arnie would find herself in a professional function, there's this certain pressure to kind of like, if you weren't having a great day in the first place, you kind of have to push that away or push down that negative feeling, because you have to be there for these people and you have to still be professional. So I think the pressure is less about, for me, less about how I look and how I it's more about how I actually show up as a person to whatever situation I'm in, especially if I'm not feeling great. But I still have this pressure to be on, to still be at 100%, even when I feel way less than 100%.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like to say, like, especially for like professional settings, that made me think, and I was laughing a little bit in my head because like I imagined the scenario of like, like maybe a coworker asks you, how you were doing, and you kind of just spell like whatever that you're going through. Like that would be unprofessional, like how you're doing. It's kind of just like now, like nowadays, it's just like greeting, right? Like, hey, how are you doing? It's
hard to be honest when somebody asks you that, because the default is I'm fine, even when you're not fine. So my thing is like, okay, if I'm not feeling fine, I'm just going to tell them I'm keeping it together, because that's more honest than saying I'm just fine. And if they want to get into it, sure. If they don't want to get into it, cool.
Well, you know what, though? What I will say, Tracy, when it comes to working relationships, I've found it easier for me lately to be more transparent. Like, not attaching emotion to it, but just identifying, like, I'm not doing that great today, but, we'll work through it. Like, I have some stuff going on, so that they're aware that I'm not, because I feel like when you're with coworkers for a certain amount of time, they can kind of catch the vibe when you're not your usual self. Like, is everything? They'll tend to ask it like, "Are you okay today? You seem kind of off." Like, yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night, or yeah, I got some stuff going on outside of here that I'm just working through. But I appreciate you asking. So it's acknowledging it. You can acknowledge it without having to pull all the emotions in. Like, yeah, I'm really going through. I mean, you could if you're like close to that person, but again, read the room, the environment.
Yeah, that's sort of like the
in.
scenario I had in my mind.
Professionalism. Yeah, sense of professionalism. I think that's what it is in terms of appearances. Arnie's like, nah.
Yeah.
No, because for me, when you're at work, it's work, right? Like, yes, you can be friends with them, but for me, I'm just like, if they say how you doing, I'm just gonna say I'm good, whether I'm good or not, because guess what? They don't need to know my business outside of work, right? And so I just keep it as is. Even if I'm close to people, if they want to talk about personal life outside of work, we're gonna do it outside of work. But when you're in the office and like, how's it going? Everything's great, right? Whether it's good or not, because you never know.
Never know, huh?
You never know.
Would it be rude to say that this is
I
kind
know.
of? I feel like this is a generational like difference.
No, I don't think that's generational difference. I get where Arnie's coming from, because that's in terms of preference. That can also be in terms of preference with experience. She's more experienced than me in terms of like the work life. Like you should be judicious, or you should have discretion of what information you are sharing with people that you're not at that level. But I'm just more comfortable being able to. That's just me. That's just like I'm just like that in general. You all know me as a person, like to the level of openness that I'm at, and I hold myself accountable too. But again, it goes back to that whole idea of how you present yourself, not just physically, right? Your personality can kind of influence that a little bit too, as well. I think, and that's just my personality versus hers. Different, not wrong or right, but different.
Okay, now I'm a bit curious though, like, because since we're talking about like like appearances, like acceptable, kind of like differences in like preferences, like is like for you, is there a sort of like, let's say just in like whichever scenario comes up in mind, like is it like friends, work, whatever, like family? It's like for you, is there a certain level of like compromise, like change that you're kind of like you kind of accept or you're okay with, to like kind of like make this change in yourself?
Still appearance? Like
Yeah.
what level? Like, could you give an example of what
Like-
kind of change?
Like for me, okay, like I'm okay like changing my fashion style, to fit in my friend group. Like that's something that I can compromise with. But when it comes to like, let's say like what's important for me, like what I dedicate time on, like I have some pretty hard compromises there. Or what's the opposite of it? Like I have some pretty hard boundaries there where I'm like, like you might be my best friend, but like when it comes to like, let's say like my duties, like this still has to like take priority for me, like, and that's something I can't compromise on. But like some things, especially if like this person myself, I can't,
I think what you're trying to say is more about not necessarily like compromising in terms of looks, but more compromising in terms of like keeping up with appearances, which is different. Like keeping up with having to be, like around people, or compromising something else so that you can spend time, or that you can show up to an event or to a function or something that may or may not be important to you, or something that you value or not. I don't know if that's kind of where you're going with it.
Like
People's perception of you, in a way.
It's like let's say, even if I don't like, let's say my friends invite me to watch this movie, if I don't like the movie or I don't follow the series, and this is kind of like the fourth movie of this series, I haven't watched the first three, I am not interested in it, I don't follow the story, like I'll still watch it with them, for them, like I'll still say that I enjoyed it, I'll still pay attention to details enough to like kind of, so I can kind of talk to them like afterwards, right? Like I'm still willing to do that, but
Arnie's
like
like,
that's
no.
like for me that's
No.
like like for me that's an acceptable compromise to keep up appearances.
Arnie's like, I'm not paying a movie ticket for a series I don't even follow, for actors I don't care about.
Exactly. That, and not only that, you're wasting like 2.5 hours of your life. If that's not even something you enjoy, it's like, no. And if, with my friends, they know I don't like scary movies. If they decide they want to watch scary movies, that's fine. They'll invite me just to be nice, but they know I'm going to say no. Because one, like I said, I live by myself. I ain't about to have scary stuff popping up in my house, okay? And two, like you said, movies ain't cheap anymore. I'd rather go out to a nice dinner than go for a movie, right? And three, if I just really don't like it, it's like I could find better things to do with my time than to sit in a movie theater to watch that, right? But and I think that's where you got to kind of hold your own. And I get that everybody wants to fit in and stuff. And like I said, we'll hang out, we'll do other things, but we don't have to do like every single thing all the time and do the same things all the time. And I think that's why people become friends, is because you're not all the same. Sometimes it's good to have the variety. And then that way your friendship is not boring, where you're all doing the same thing, going all the same places, sometimes. But yeah, no, I will not do that just to maintain friendships.
I don't know that there's a line, really. It might just depend on your relationships, to be honest. Because, like, just to Arnie's point, you might be more comfortable expressing to your friends, like, "Hey, this is not something I'm gonna do." But whereas, like, in a work environment, that could be more challenging, because you may be faced with a situation where, like, oh, all these people are meeting up, and you want to be able to also, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, though. You have to know when to say, this is not okay. So I feel like I don't know that it's like there's a hard and fast rule of being able to decide. It's just kind of like where your intentions at. Only you can really know. You know what I mean? Like,
And
why are you doing it?
As you get older, you start to realize what your priorities should be or where it should go. And so even, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I don't try to fit in, because there are times where, I do different things to try to fit in and everything, right? But like I said, you got to draw the line somewhere. And so there are times where even my coworkers are always asking me, hey, do you want to go out with us? Honestly, no, I don't want to, and I'm not going to go, right? But that's something that you have to decide for yourself. Is it worth it? But some people will always say yes, no matter what, because they just always want to be a part of the group. But, nah.
I mean, there's like that element of being on all the time too, and that's exhausting. If you're saying yes to everything because you just want to be with these people, then it's almost like a performance. You're not even there for yourself anymore. You're just there for these people.
That
it's like it's performative at that point. If you're just saying yes all the time, because for me, I feel like I got to the point. It's because I think for me, it's because I moved around a lot and I had to like fit in over and over and over again. So like I feel like I got to a point where I didn't even know what I wanted anymore, because I'm just so used to like having to try to fit in with all these new people, new environments all the time. And it's kind of hard to come back from that and find, oh, what do I actually enjoy doing? What do I actually value for myself? So, it's hard. And I would say like, okay, I don't have to do everything with these folks. Like I have things that I want to do, but it's certain thing of like, I have to find it for me. But I mean, sometimes the mechanism is all these people that you hang out with. Oh, actually, I love pizza. Like I like going to pizza parlors. Maybe that's a mechanism to find things you like, but it doesn't hurt to like explore things on your own and not saying yes all the time to what everybody else wants.
And it's like, just lastly, it's like we've been talking about, like, maintaining appearances is not bad, and sometimes it's necessary actually to maintain appearances, like especially in like a work environment, or like when you're like just when you're working like in a group, like you're working towards a goal, and if it's something that you're okay with, to like this thing that you're okay compromising with, then that it's up to you. And something I noticed, like we all kind of like have different things that where like we can compromise on in terms of appearances, things that we can, but like at the end of the day, it's like, like maintain these appearances, but not at the cost where you kind of like lose yourself, right? Where you don't even know what you like, you don't even know what things you enjoy, what things you like. Like, do I enjoy these shows? I mean, I enjoy them because because I'm friends with this person, and they like this show. It's like, no, that's not a reason for you to like it. That's just you. That's you liking the show because they like it. So yeah, like maintaining your appearances, but also like be present enough in kind of like in your own life where that the things that you kind of like, and like what's true for you. And and sorry I couldn't read all of the chats there. I'm seeing a lot of like chats there in our
It's
live
okay.
chat
I can't
about
read any of them either.
okay, if you guys didn't know, like she's on Tracy's just on her phone. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like she lost power earlier, but
I had no power, and the power is back now.
yeah, but so she couldn't see your chats too earlier. I'll go back and I'll read them later on. But thank you for tuning in with us. The friends here in the panel. Thank you for joining me, and we do hope to see you again next week for another episode of INCRadio Chat Line. And look out for what we're going to be talking about next. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Business Beat has officially arrived in the district of Dasmariñas.